Hello! Welcome to Sandra's Revolver!
The show about movies and video games.
I'm John!
And I'm Carl.
And we're here to talk to you about Valerian! City of a Thousand Planets.
Stay tuned and we'll let you know what we think. We are pairing Elysian Space Dust IPA with Valerian. Now, the reason behind this is because Elysian Space Dust has to do with space.
Yep.
And Valerian took place in space for the majority of the movie.
No!
Well, it took place on the City of a Thousand Planets, which was in space.
Holy shit!
Yes, so that was in space. And yeah, it's a fine IPA. Tastes very nice, goes down smoothly. I would recommend it for this movie. You're going to need a lot of it because of this movie. Let's talk about Valerian.
It's based on an old French comic, isn't it?
Yes, Valerian and Laureline.
That's right.
From the 1960s to 2010. That was its run.
I'd honestly never heard of it.
Apparently Luc Besson really was into it as a kid.
Oh yeah?
He's always wanted to make it.
Passion project. I'm pretty sure the most expensive indie film ever made.
Yeah.
And I think about $220 million.
Something like that. We'll look at the exact amount and put it on the screen.
I don't think Valerian has a bad story. Not by a long shot. It is not an exemplified great story that has like a lot of depth. I think it's simple.
It was okay. It did its job, which was to show visuals. Valerian, played by Dave DeHaan, and Laureline, one of those names, played by Cara Delevingne, are agents of a human military force on Valerian. On Alpha.
Yes.
Not Valerian.
The giant space station of 1,000 planets.
Yes, on Alpha. So they're sent to this planet, whose name I cannot remember, to retrieve a duplicator, which is a live animal.
It sort of looks like a lizard.
It's a lizard rat.
There you go,
a lizard rat. But whatever you feed it, it duplicates.
So like if you dropped in a quarter, it would spawn out probably at least about a couple hundred
$100 in quarters. Very valuable
universe.
Creature.
Yeah.
And they go retrieve it from this mob boss. And the cool part about that is they have to go into another dimension.
The planet itself is just a big old desert. They call it Big Market. If you want to see it, you got to wear the headset. And if you want to interact with any, like, you know, picking up this beer, you have to wear gloves. Mm-hmm. And I think you and I are both in agreement that that's one of the coolest parts of it.
And it ends in a gunfight between two dimensions, which was probably for me the coolest part of the movie.
I wanted to talk about the very, very opening of the movie. I mean, comparisons to Avatar are going to be aplenty from the get-go. When you look at this planet and this alien race, it looks basically like this, pretty much a paradise. It's just this otherworldly paradise that definitely gives you like, man, this is a cool alien race. They look really pretty. They rub pearls over their face and it makes them look different and pretty. They have lots of the replicator aliens that they're after by the time the movie gets started.
A lot of them.
But it's just beautiful and gorgeous, and even though it's all CG, happy to see such a neat idea brought to life in a full-screen movie theater.
It really did feel like, for me, like reading heavy metal. And like heavy metal isn't always good, but it's always kind of weird. So like, oh, this I'm not 100% digging this, but it is weird and it's kind of interesting to look at.
Yeah.
So
for how long the movie is, it feels like story is not its primary objective.
No.
There was too many side things going on that didn't feel relevant to the story.
It was the worst story you could have told in that universe. You were living on a space station that has all these different stories going on inside of it.
For something that's called Valerian, City of a Thousand Planets, or Worlds, whichever it is, you know, while you're there, it's not the star. You get to see a lot of the different places, but it feels like... It's like if you played BioShock, and most of the game wasn't really set or about Rapture.
Yeah. It's like you went to Rapture in the middle of the game, chased someone through it, and that was about it.
It's a setting that kind of you pass by or pass through. That's not central to the story at all.
No, it'd be better if it were called Valerian and Laureline and the Lost Planet. So Luc Besson is one of my favorite directors. He's done films like Leon the Professional, La Femme Nikita, Lucy, The Fifth Element, all these movies that I really enjoyed. He's a good director. From the direction I saw in this movie, you wouldn't think that. A lot of, like, the action-y direction is fine. And maybe Luc Besson is just a great action director, but the interactions between characters, it doesn't really work. So the dialogue really ruins the movie. There's an article, which I'll post in below in the additional information, that suggests this movie be a better silent film. And I happen to agree with that.
Yes.
It'd be a great silent film. Visually, the direction's amazing. The way everyone moves, the imagery that's invoked, it's all gorgeous and it's all great. It's all top quality.
Doesn't feel like a mess.
The
like
problem is just not a mess like Transformers. The problem is just dialogue and any conversation scenes. It does not work. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with that. Luc Besson. I still love you, but I'm confused a little. Anything you have to say about the directing?
I kind of want to give it the same review as I gave the story. It's not shit. I don't know what happened. I don't... And I don't want to even blame it entirely on the dialogue, because you can make something work.
I don't know. I don't want to blame Dane DeHaan. I don't want to blame... Cara Delevingne, I haven't seen her in a bunch of stuff. She was okay in Suicide Squad. I haven't seen Paper Towns. I haven't seen really anything else she's done. But both characters are incredibly flat.
This is where being a silent film would have done them a lot of good.
Oh yeah. Like if you didn't hear them talk and you saw them interact with each other in like a title card, amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, fine. I believe that. But oh my god.
They both... the way the dialogue goes makes it come off as like they're supposed to have this great chemistry.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be very likable. Especially considering they're the two main characters. They're not.
Both these actors, I don't know if they had no chemistry with each other. For example, the first scene where you see Valerian and Laureline. They're on a beach, which ends up being a simulation inside a spaceship. So they're both in their beach gear, and they're on this bed, sunning themselves. They start fighting over a drink, kind of cutesy and playfully, and you think, oh, they must be a couple. This is kind of cute, and they're kind of poking fun at each other. And then the next thing you see is Laureline rejecting Valerian for being kind of like a playboy. He has a playlist of women that he's seduced, and she just doesn't want to be on that playlist. And that he has to grow up and be,
I don't get what's so seductive about him, though.
Yeah, Dane DeHaan.
There's nothing about what he said, and he's not ugly, but he's not that good looking.
Dane DeHaan doesn't play the Han Solo type. Dane DeHaan plays the character who is kind of mysterious. You go from that scene where she's rejecting him to a scene where they're on a planet, and they're about to start their mission, they're about to split up, and he does, of all things, proposes to her.
Will you marry me?
Will you marry me? And she's like, oh no, you silly guy.
Just plays it off.
She just plays it off. You silly man, I will not marry you. Mwah. Kisses on the cheek. After she said, no, I'm not going to be seduced by you. You are a player with a playlist. She kisses him on the cheek and says, maybe.
It makes me wonder, are they friends? Are they in a strong committed relationship? Or are they even exes? I don't actually understand what their relationship
is. What the hell is going on? Yeah. They fall on their head when they landed.
the air is very thin on this planet.
Oh my god. And then from there, it's kind of like, oh man, don't die, Valerian. I like you. And then it just keeps going like, I like you, Valerian, if you weren't such an asshole and would like be a little humble. And he's never humble.
I don't even know if it's an attempt of chemistry or character development. It's just weird and there that it's almost there for you to deter from liking them.
There's no... So, traditional storytelling, character slowly changes over the arc. And by the end, he's different changed.
Do you think it's because it's French and we just don't get it because we're silly Americans? And there's really like a strong super European thing where it's much more complex that we're just too dumb to understand? The box office doesn't think so.
A side note, there were some actors who, despite the direction, tried very hard, and they should be mentioned. Clive Owen, I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff recently besides the Nick. Yeah, he really, played just a flat bad guy. But he tried. He overacted, but it was fine.
The problem is there was not a lot for his character to work with.
I'm surprised how much I enjoyed Rihanna's character.
Yeah, let's actually talk about that.
Yeah, so Rihanna plays a shape-shifting alien, which is kind of cool. When you first meet her, she looks like Rihanna. Randomly in a strip show, kind of like a weird burlesque show. Yeah, where Ethan Hawke, of all people, plays this slimy club owner. Which
we got what you want. We have anything you want.
We have anything you want. We have no business, and we have Rihanna dancing for you. And she changes, but she's always Rihanna.
She just changes costumes.
She changes outfits. It's fine. It feels weird, and I wish there was more Ethan Hawke in this movie because he's great. The side characters in this movie are way interesting than the main characters. Okay, moving on to cinematography. This movie is gorgeous.
Yay!
Yay! It's gorgeous.
That's the highlight.
It's shot beautifully, done by, please excuse me if I mispronounce this, Thierry Arbogast. Thierry Arbogast?
I bet he's French.
Yeah, I bet so too. Considering he is Luc Besson's main director of photography. He's done everything from Leon, The Fifth Element, Lucy, La Femme Nikita. There's nothing more to say than just well done. This film is beautiful.
It's a fantastic visual palette.
Which is why it works better as a silent film. So I can't really say much about the sound in this movie. I felt the sound design was not great when it came to weapons. That's something I always listen for in movies. If you're going to have guns, make the guns sound loud.
It was just, here's a sci-fi film and here's like sci-fi type sounds.
Here's acceptable sound. And the guy who did the sound this time around was, the guy who did the music this time around was Alexandre Desplat. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. He did Benjamin Button, King's Speech, Argo, and Zodiac. It's not bad, it's just very, very basic, Nothing very memorable about that soundtrack.
Unfortunately, I don't remember anything about the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But I know I wasn't thinking, man, what a terrible soundtrack they're in.
Yeah.
It was, while you're watching it, it's perfectly serviceable and works with what is happening, but you're not going to go out and buy it afterwards.
You liked Valerian, you want to be in that world a little more, what do you play? So the games I really think about are, like a space opera games, like Mass Effect.
We face extinction. A rogue soldier leads an unstoppable force across the galaxy. And only you stand in his way.
With that whole series, there's a lot of exploration, a lot of different
species,
going
and sci-fi,
to different planets and dealing with different kinds of aliens, which is mirrored in Valerian in moments.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Mass Effect's a great game to play if you really want more Valerian. Knights of the Old Republic, a little older, but still the same vein. Still BioWare.
Yeah, and again since it's a Star Wars universe, it's the same idea. Lots of different planets. Lots of different alien species, lots of different visuals and sci-fi technology.
Yep.
If you have any other games or ideas relating to Valerian for what games to play, list them below. But I don't think there's really too many that are like, oh, here's a game with a whole bunch of different alien species that you're all going to interact with outside of just shooting them.
Yeah. And please, if you listen below, give your reasons.
I would personally give Valerian, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 6 sandwiches.
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Mostly because the acting and the character stuff for me really dragged it down.
Yeah.
I mean, for me the acting was that bad, and the moments that were created with the visuals and everything else just didn't back it up enough.
I think for myself, while I was very disappointed with, the story could have been better, the acting was definitely just a large disappointment in that area. From what I saw in the trailers, I got from what I was looking for, which was a really pretty cool sci-fi world with interesting concepts. And that's what I got.
You liked it a little more, because you went in expecting a visual feast, and you got a visual feast.
I did.
I went expecting a whole space opera like Guardians.
I know. It is not Guardians.
No, it isn't Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, that's our show. Thank you for watching. Like always, if you liked it, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, subscribe anyway, because we're going to keep making these. Let us know what you liked, you didn't like in the comments. If you have any games to suggest to go along with Valerian, let us know. Yeah, for Sandwich Revolver, I'm Carl Diamond.
And I'm John Reeve.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Have a pleasant day.